All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. That is the day that it is. Uh, welcome to Old Reader, New Reader. I am back from my vacation that I should have been back from last week, but sometimes you're on a vacation and it just lasts a little longer than you planned. And I'm back with Steven. It's been a bit. We're here together
That's
doing a
me.
show. That's him. Oh, this way.
Over.
Uh,
Dang it. Yeah.
ah,
Hey.
we're here doing the thing, talking about once and future, not to. Oh my lord, you guys! I will say real quick that I am feeling under the weather, so I might be. I sound drunk. I am not drunk. I am just a little out of it. Um, so we're
I've
talking
been
about
sick for 5 days, so I'm with you.
yay. So we're talking about Once and Future by Kieron Gillen and Dan Mora. This is not to be confused with Once and Future, which is like a book with like a female Arthur
The Once and Future King.
something. Anyways, but this is Arthurian. This is related to Arthurian legend, which I'm a big. I don't know about you, but since I was little, I've always been really into like anything Arthurian.
Yeah. you know.
It's like the regular kind of geek stratosphere, right? It's like everybody has kind of a vague understanding or like interest in like things like King Arthur and Greek legend
Yeah.
or Greek mythology.
I saw a kid in King Arthur's court when I
Oh,
was
there you
little.
go.
So I mean that influenced a lot of my beliefs about King Arthur, but a lot of the things I learned, honestly, I learned reading this as it was coming out. So
Okay, all right. I like that. That's
I,
cool.
I mean, I know the basics, but
Right. Yeah,
like
I read and watched a bunch of stuff ever since watching Quest for Camelot when I was a kid, and I was like, this is for me. And you and I can have a joke about that later about me identifying way too much about that song about our dead dad, and then I had
yeah, I get it.
inappropriate dark humor. Anyways, so Once in Future, I read the first volume like once it was on Comixology, but you're the old reader in this one, and I'm the new
Damn,
reader.
I'm elderly.
Hey. But I hadn't read volumes two and three until today. But I'll read anything. I love Karen Gillan, and I love Dan Mora. Oh, that deluxe is so nice.
Isn't it? It's really
Oh my
pretty.
gosh,
It's
I
not
want
the
it.
slipcase, but it's just I weirdly prefer it to the slipcase.
Well, you know how I feel about any dust jackets or slipcases or anything.
I will say,
Is the
yeah,
binding bad?
I've I have not experienced the same problems, but I know some people got brittle binding like the glue, and so it started like that
Yeah,
happens with Boom sometimes. As much as I
yeah.
love
I
Boom,
feel like that's a recent thing because the Buffy deluxe, the new ones were similar.
but like this oversized Dan
Oh
Mora artwork
man.
is gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think, Dan Moore is definitely one of my top 10 favorite comic book artists for sure. I mean, basically I'll read
Hmm.
anything if he's on it. Because
Me
he
too.
just brings characters to life in a way that a lot of artists I can't replicate.
Yeah,
And the
it's.
colorist on this, Tamara Bonvillain, is fantastic as
I
well.
like to think it's Bonvillain.
Oh, I like that. Because when I say it,
Yeah,
it sounds like Bond villain, which
Bond
I
villain.
apologize,
Yes.
Tamara.
No, I like it. I think it's fancy.
Maddie's pro book nudist colony. I am. No dust jackets.
I
Naked
get it.
folks.
I it,
Always.
it's funny that I was doing this show and fangirl so often for a while that I'm recognizing names. I'm like, oh hey, it's been a while, Jessica.
You'll have to come visit. Jessica's my friend in real life now.
What?
I stalked her and I made her my friend.
The real life? That's crazy.
hmm hmm
I'm your friend in the real life.
That's true.
One time.
So let's get into this.
Yeah.
I guess like a quick synopsis without going too much into detail. Is difficult, but I'm gonna give a
Yeah.
basic kind of description of what this is. Because when I say it's related to Arthurian legend, that is true. However, basically these group of like I guess British nationalists, um,
Yeah.
in a way. are trying to bring about the resurrection of King Arthur.
Hmm.
Um, but the way they do this is very interesting. So your main characters are Duncan and his grandmother Bridget or Brigitte. And
I think it's Bridget.
I don't know. Well, there's like, is there a TTE? There's a TTE in it though. Oh,
Like
but there's not an I, another I. Bridget. We'll say
Bridget,
Bridget.
Bridget,
Bridget.
Bridget,
Bridget.
Bridget. Yeah,
And they are what we learned at the beginning, like a monster hunting family, but it's a little more complicated than that. By a little, I mean a lot more complicated. Where basically they are almost like the people that carry out stories. And so in this book, stories have a lot of power. So uh, Bridget has been raising Duncan on her own
right,
in such a way that he inhabits what would be Percival in Arthurian legend. So, a man raised with women away from other humankind is very, naive, virginal, which I thought was funny. Um, while Duncan's mother, who he didn't know about, who he thought was dead, and his brother, she has been raising his brother as Galahad,
yeah.
who in the
Oh,
story brings the it's not the chalice, what's that called?
the Grail.
Thank you, the Grail, um, to Arthur. And so they put in a lot of these stories in here, and basically like depending on how they interact with the story, which is like almost like a kind of a fate, kind of just a moving force you can't escape
Right.
from. Um, you can be different characters in the story, and that affects how everything else goes. But in this
Yeah.
world, King Arthur coming back isn't necessarily a good thing.
No, he's a racist.
Yeah, he is a racist. Um, it it was basically described in here that like in the stories, King Arthur showing up was usually during the dark times and then a good time happened after, but not he didn't necessarily help that. Sometimes he could just you could infer that he is the cause of the negative things.
Right. They said that, at one point it said something like, it said he would return at the darkest time. And they
Yeah.
were saying he could either be returning to address that, which he's clearly not as you read it,
No.
or he's bringing the dark time, which he very good.
Yeah. And they said that when in his original time he did unite Britain, but immediately after he went to war with like other European countries. So it wasn't necessarily a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he says a lot about uh anyone Saxon, anyone, not that like is can you be racist against other white people? I don't know. But
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
he can. He,
uh, but yeah, like it's they're trying to basically prevent Arthur from coming back, and also trying to prevent um Duncan's mother from just causing a whole mess of things.
and
But it's really
through that
confusing.
different people start taking on
Hmm.
multiple characters to try to, and they have to be as close to that character as
Hmm.
possible, so they have to act a certain way and do different things so that their story can. Oh god. Yeah, it gets a little complex, and then other stories that are not Arthurian legend but are classic English literature
Hmm.
start to come into play. How how far did you read? I'm
I read
curious.
the first 3 volumes,
Okay. So
so
I
everything that's in that book I've read.
do I have them behind me still? I don't know if I do. I don't think I do. So I read it month to month.
Okay.
So I'm caught up.
Okay.
And right now they're almost done with the next arc that would come out in
Okay.
trade.
So no spoilers with that one.
Yeah, I will not spoil, but I will tell you it got it is buck wild. Like it is it one from what happens at the end of this volume, which I will not
Hmm.
say. It's clearly some time passes.
Right.
And Duncan has grown this beard, and I'm going to tell you, Duncan looks good.
Duncan's a very okay. Everyone in this book is very attractive, but
Yes.
that's because it's Dan Mora.
Yeah, he just draws such pretty people.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, Duncan's this nerd who's a virgin." I'm like, "This hot redhead? Okay,
Yeah, you can kind of see it in the
sure."
first issue when he's on that date, and you're like, okay, you're kind of the worst. Like, but then he's not. It's
So people who are watching this, there will be some spoilers. This is ongoing. I'm not going to spoil like the big thing at the end. I just want to talk generally about the book.
yeah,
And I know that the way that we're describing it is very complicated to explain once in future, but it does not mean that it is so complicated that it's not good. It's very good. It is incredibly enthralling. It is just
yeah.
difficult to explain.
It's harder to explain than it is to understand.
Hmm.
Um, it's not Jonathan Hickman. Like,
No, no, no.
like
And
this isn't like Hickman where you're like, what?
like what?
What?
Like this weird like big picture.
Yeah, no, it's got a big picture, but it's almost also got like a monster of the week quality,
Absolutely.
which I kind of love.
Yeah, because they're also hunting monsters in between these things. They kind of become their own little Scooby gang, like our Buffy gang in this. His grandmother, Rose, who's they're dating.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and Duncan, who just kind of figuring stuff out. And poor Duncan knew nothing. And I love this because like I love that at the beginning they just throw you in it immediately.
Hmm.
I love when books do that. It was just not easy. Not everybody can do that well, but I think immediately you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Because he's like, hey, grandma, you left the nursing home again. They said you escaped. And then he goes to meet her and she just like opens up this like this hole in the ground with a
It's a
ton of
grave, I
guns.
think.
Yeah, it's just like a ton of guns. I mean, huge guns. And then like a chimera shows up and she's just like, hit it with the pointy thing.
Oh, it's the questing beast. Go fight it. And
Yeah.
then uh, v- to give you the idea of that character, which is obviously Brigitte, as we've called her. Uh, no, Bridget's she's the best.
Oh
She's the
my
best
gosh.
character in the series. She's this badass old lady, and I just the very first issue, she pulls a gun on him and is
Yeah.
like, "No, we have to go do
She
this now."
shoots
And
him in
he's
the
like, "You're
ear.
my grandmother. You're not going to shoot me." And she boom shoots him in the ear, and it's like, "Let's go!" Like,
Well, and for a lot of this, she's like the muscle in a weird way. It's like, or she's like the real brains because she's like, go distract him with your muscles because you're Lancelot and you have like story powers, right? And, and then she's the one that does the killing blow or like has the explosive. And he's like, what? I will say, Jordan, I see your comment. Jordan said, looks really boring, probably why I skipped it. I also find East of West to be disappointing. I will say, this book is anything but boring.
yes, it is
There is not an
constant action.
instant in this book that is boring. It is, yeah, and I'm not a big action person. I'm a character over action and story over action. I enjoy every bit of this crazy wild ride.
And there's a lot of books out there right now that don't do the classic comic book trope that I still deep down love, even though it's cheesy, of every issue ending on some sort of massive splash page cliffhanger. And that's how this book is. Every single issue, every chapter, the last thing you see is a big old splash page, and the only thing you can think is like, oh shit. And then you have to wait a month, or at least right now you do. If you catch
Yeah, and
up like
I'll be
me.
waiting for trades, so this will be fun. But I
Oh,
love
and
it because
for
you get to the end, it's like to be continued. I'm like,
tell me
what's gonna happen?
more.
And
Yeah,
it's
well,
a lot of things I did not expect. Like I was like, okay, Arthurian, we get it, and then like they're like, sup, it's Beowulf, and I'm like, what? And the Green Knight, which I was so excited about because I
uh-huh.
didn't know anything about the Green Knight until I saw the A24 movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Goblin and the Green Knight.
yeah, and oh man, so I was like, ah,
Oh, and like
I
how one
know.
of one of the characters is like, no, 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 you're too many characters already. I'll be Gawain. And I was just like, yeah, yeah, like this is great.
Yeah,
Um,
I love how it all puts together. This could work. This whole premise would work very well as like a tabletop role playing game.
oh yeah.
You know?
Oh my god, it would.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Listen,
really, really would. Oh,
my
there's a
cat
cat.
does want to say hi. Here it is. Bye, Robin.
The,
Goodbye.
Robin. Oh man. Oh Robin. Um, No, I don't know. It's really good. I want to just say I gotta find like one of the splash pages because one of the best villain designs I have seen in so long is Arthur. Just
Oh
I
yeah.
like the first time that I saw him, I guess in the first issue at the very end, when he kind of like is there,
Mhm.
or they're right after they raise him, so the second issue. I lost my freaking mind when I was reading it
So cool.
because I was just like, yeah, I mean, it's very basic, but in the best
A
way.
highlight, yeah.
It's just this like amazing, like him rising from this pit, like just skelly
Yeah.
man, and
It
then
almost
he,
reminds me of like Swamp Thing-esque artwork.
yes, and then he grows this like flesh on him. As the story becomes stronger,
Mhm.
he becomes stronger because the whole thing is they're part of a, I guess we didn't really say this, we just called them monster hunters. They're part of like an order of this family that their role is to make sure that people don't find out that stories are real.
Mhm.
Like they need to, and that comes into play really big in
Yeah.
volume 3.
Did not expect
um
that.
yeah, of
Because I
like
do
how
want
do
to
we
talk.
keep it secret from the
Yeah.
world, like because we have to, the world is gonna, if they find out, the stories have all the power because
Mhm.
every single person that believes gives it more power, so if we tell everyone,
There we go. To put myself in focus. Yeah.
they take over. Yeah, it was, which again comes into play, but it's a very, I don't know, it's a cool idea. It's almost got the I don't know if you've read Department of Truth,
No.
Tinian's thing
But
right
I'm
now,
going to. Yeah.
where it's like conspiracy theories, and the whole idea is the more people believe in it, it becomes true.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
so, yeah, like flat Earth is in there, and it's like, is that real? And everybody's like, no. And the guy's like, of course it's not real, but if enough people believe in it, it becomes real.
Love that. Well, and like I think, Gillen did such a great job of like doing this bit by bit. So like you're slowly being
Yeah.
introduced and you see how everything interacts as you go and grow. Because also, while you the reader are not as sure where it's going, the other characters aren't really sure either. Because everything is really even like, Bridget for who, she's been working on this kind of stuff for a long time. It's not exactly going as she planned or she
No.
thought it would. And even as the reader, I was like confused because when Arthur first shows up, he's very aware of who he is.
Mhm.
And then as we continue, he loses that a bit. Merlin shows up and he's like, "I don't. Who are you?"
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, we know you talked about him before, and you're very aware of everything, and we understand as we go on why that is." But like, Merlin is such a cool character, and it was neat. I like the choice that all of the knights, everything as they're reborn, like Galahad and Arthur and Merlin, everybody, Lancelot, they're just like they're not people.
Yeah, so my favorite one is Galahad, uh who by the end of the third arc is like, he starts as this very pretty boy,
Oh yeah,
just this like blonde hair, blue eyed, like knight, like that you would imagine, and by the end of the third arc, like he is like this maggoty, deformed centaur like
yeah,
monster. And it's amazing. Like
yeah.
that's why again, Dan freaking Mora, like the art in this is, it's visceral in a not disgusting way.
Hmm.
Like, does that make sense? It's
Yeah,
disgusting but
absolutely.
not disgusting. Like,
Yeah, I think it gives the same feel as like a lot of my favorite like animated films like Don Bluth and stuff.
mhm.
Like think about like Anastasia when you see Rasputin and you have all those things. It gives me the same feel where it feels very otherworldly and grotesque, but not in a, like an offensive way. It's like a very
Right,
interesting way. You can almost see it's like looking at animation almost because you can kind of feel it like and fill in the blanks for yourself. The way, Dan and Tamara work together with the art, like
right.
it's perfect.
And And yeah, like you said, the more I've thought about it, when they are like rising, clearly, Arthur's a skelly man. But like Merlin is basically a walking corpse.
Yeah.
A lot of them are basically walking corpses. And then when you finally meet Lancelot, it's almost like he's made of water.
He was really interesting because
And he's gonna
I'm
play a bigger role.
I'm excited, and I'm a Lancelot fangirl, always have been. I love that romance. Um, but he looked like an anime character to me, like, because it's almost like he was like the blue and the way he was like armored up. Like I feel like you can see this guy's like, oh, this is my suit that I wear to like pilot a Gundam. That's what I was thought when I looked at him. I was like, this is not what I expected from this.
Yeah, he does almost look like a mixture of, yeah, a Gundam pilot mixed with like Captain Britain or like oh, who was I thinking of? As I looked at it, I was like, he could be on the cover of Excalibur, like
Yeah.
with all the other X-Men. Like I could see it. Like but also is one of my favorite designs.
Oh
So
yeah.
like and it's so striking because it's the only use really of the color blue
Mhm.
in the whole book as far as like a real stark blue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reds and greens and dark fire imagery and colors. There's no water,
Yeah.
and so it's cool when you finally meet that character and you're like, oh, and he's like, he can make a sword appear out of nowhere, and the sword's made of
So cool.
water, and it's very cool,
Also, there's a lot of really cool swords.
right?
Can we talk about that? I loved. Well, anyways, it's always very cool to see Excalibur anytime,
Of
in
course.
whatever iteration. But I also appreciate all the jokes. And every time Duncan, who's new, is like sees a sword, he's like, oh, "It's a sword in the stone." And Bridget's like, "You've got to chill. There's swords and lots of stones. Excalibur's from a lake. Okay,
Right.
calm down." Because he still gets excited every time. Like, oh my god, chill.
Yeah, because yeah, he does freak out the first time and the second time that he sees a sword. He's like, oh, Excalibur, and she's like, no, no, it's not Excalibur. He's just like,
Which makes it even better because by
oh.
the time he needs to go get Excalibur, he just does. He's like, "Oh, well, this makes sense. I'm gonna go here, get it from the ladies in the water. They're super nice." And he just brings the sword back to them. He doesn't keep it. He's like, "No, I can have
Also,
it back." And Bridget's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, I said I'd borrow it for
which
the
I
Gundam."
appreciate so much because I feel like that's gonna end up helping him in the long run. Because I
He's
do
such a
feel
good
like
boy.
this is, well, he's Percival. Percival has to be like this
Yeah.
perfect virginal, like, I'm interested to see if that becomes a story point of like their budding romance and if like they
Oh, there's
sleep
no.
together and can they sleep together and him still be
Mhm.
Percival. Um
When they say the story has a grip on you, so I wonder if there's like a different story altogether that's bigger than the Arthur. Oh, I'm right, aren't I? The Arthurian one and the Beowulf, because I'm like, you can't. This can't be. There's got to be something else because
um
they have told us since the beginning over and over again that the story just gets a hook on you, and things just happen because the story's already started. The reason he already met Rose and she already knew how to like she's a professor of history or whatever, like it's like way too good of a coincidence.
right, it's very much a everything is fated to happen the
Yeah,
way it happens, but free will screws it up. Like
yeah.
it's difficult to kind of wrap your head around, but I feel like Kieran Gillen is setting up for, honestly, I could see this being a run that goes like 100 issues, maybe. But I could also see it being a run that goes like 60, like Wicked and Divine. I can't remember how many that went,
Mhm.
but like it doesn't feel like he's gonna do it for years and years and years. But it does feel like he's setting things up, like the whole thing with Gawain and the Green Knight, of like, okay, you hit me. I am the Green Knight. I will return in a year's time, and everything is happening so quickly that
Man,
you're gonna forget about it, and then the Green Knight's gonna come when you least expect it,
I don't know
and
how she's gonna get out of this one
I'm concerned.
because I watched that movie and I don't think you because you with the Green Knight, you get to hit him once. It's part of the game.
Right.
You get to hit a strike on him, but then a year from now, he gets to hit a strike on you. And he's a big man. He's a big skelly man with big axe.
Well, and that's the thing, is
You
like it's all
know?
supernatural because she knew what she was doing when she did it, because she swung the axe and split his head wide open, and they were all like, and then he got up and was like, okay, I'll be back in a year.
Yeah, I love him. Well, because he's like, let's play a game. While these guys are like, no. And then he's like, just kills them. And then finally she's like, I'll play. It's cool. It's like, oh, thank you.
in
And she hits
the
him with it.
Green Knight's defense, I understand he's a villain. He did kill a lot of neo-Nazis in
Yeah,
that
that's
bar,
true.
and I supported that.
Yeah.
Um,
Real quick, Chris mentioned the cameo in Volume 2. That was amazing.
oh
From
no,
Shaun
now
of
I'm
the
like,
Dead.
oh
Or
yeah,
not
yeah,
Shaun
yeah,
of the Dead.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was, or was it Shaun of the Dead? Or was it
Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz? There it was. I was like, it
I
was so.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Now I'm like, oh man, because I was like, oh, Brian Michael
'cause they
Bendis
show
being
up
a
to help.
character, but I was like, wait, that's a different series.
Yeah. Was that
Um,
Nailbiter?
Nailbiter, and a current series that's
Oh,
on the
of course.
stands right now, which is the most like meta comic thing ever, where like Chip Zdarsky is murdered, and it's
I
great.
love that.
It's
That sounds great.
crossover.
James says, in a way, you can say Once and Future is this generation of Disney gargoyles. If they animated it, it would be
Oh my god, I'd watch
gargoyles
that.
level. Where's our gargoyles comic? That's a question for another day.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there was one. It's out there somewhere,
Yeah.
like with the Darkwing Ducks and the universe and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would love a Gargoyles comic book now.
But yeah, to go back to what you said about like seeing this as something that's definitely going to have like there's an end in sight. Like, even though it's only been 3 volumes, I feel like I am so trusting in Gillen and Mora with this.
Oh yeah,
Like, I am One Piece level of trusting right now, which is big for me. I'm like, I know that you are going to lead me on a correct path, and it's going to have a good ending, and you have a plan in place, and I can tell that you are taking the time with it, and that the big comic book gods aren't going to rush you, and they're going to let you have this for me.
that's how the only books I felt like that in a long time with are this one and Something's Killing the Children.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that James Tynion knows what he's doing, and I'm 100%
Well,
in.
people let him do it.
Yeah.
I think there's like, you reach a certain level, and there's certain writers that, if you're not in like DC or Marvel, because you have no chance sometimes, unless you're like one of the big 5 and
Right.
you're a dude, or Gail Simone, then you don't have a chance. But I think with like these other publishers, if it's not related to like a certain license or something, like, okay, here it is. You get to take your time with it.
Right.
It's okay. No rush. But also, I mean, who's not going to buy something with Dan Mora on it or Kieron Gillen? Like, that's easy.
Idiots.
Yeah.
Idiots. Dan Mora made me read Grant Morrison because of Klaus.
Oh gosh.
There's no secret that me not huge Grant Morrison fan. But Klaus great.
It's a really hot Santa.
They also I will say they also just wrote a really good miniseries that just came out in trade called Proctor Valley Road.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not read it, you should. It's like a Janis Joplin set in the 60s horror. It's really good.
Yes, sounds great.
Psychedelic, which is very Morrison.
Yeah.
But no, it's very good.
Oh, Jaden, my people. I used to be one of those I prefer Batman to be alone fans, but James Tynion made me love the Bat family. James Tynion made me love Batman.
Run.
Didn't care. I really didn't until, Rebirth.
Detective
Comics.
So
and
good.
then I was like, okay, I get it now. But now that's my I compare every Batman to that. So I'm just constantly upset. I'm just like, no.
Tomasi
family. When I love Tomasi
took over when he left. He did great, but honestly, to me, it's back to the level where it was before Tinian left
Yeah,
because Mariko Tamaki took over,
yeah.
and the artist is Dan Mora.
Again,
And so the
oh,
run of Detective right now is,
I bet it's beautiful,
yeah. Some of
man.
the covers are like, oh, some of the covers.
And now I'm glad Dan Moore's doing this, and and that as well, because I was sad that he was taken away from Buffy,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think even Dan Moore could have saved that. So,
Wait, you mean a Buffy comic went sideways?
well, the Dark Horse stuff was good. It's just when the Boom stuff, I was like, I'll keep collecting all of it forever until I die, even the bad
Yeah.
stuff. I gave up and I sold it. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Uh,
I'm
I've
done.
been I've been doing that with the ongoing series, and I'm just like,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
it's not. Yeah, I
I even
need to.
it's better even I give up on Buffy. The one thing I collect
Right?
besides our boy Terry Moore back there.
Oh yeah, Terry's everywhere. He's hiding right there. I bought one of his Comic-Con banners during COVID, and it's hanging somewhere in here.
You would. Oh,
Uh,
that's pretty funny. You could have said the Buffy comic went to hell.
I should have. I didn't see. I wasn't fast enough. Wasn't
Walter
fast enough.
says Netflix is going to do a series on Once in Future. Not sure if it's going to be live action or animated. And is that definitely different from the other Once in Future? Because there's another Once in Future, and I think that one got a show. I might be crazy.
Is it? Are you thinking of the novel, the really famous novel,
Yeah,
Once
where
in Future King?
no, it's a girl, like the future. Oh no, yeah, it's called Once in Future though, according to Goodreads. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
wrong. Anyways,
Now I'm like, I don't.
I didn't watch that show, so.
Once
But
in
if there's gonna be a
Future.
show of this, I'd be very happy. But I think I would like for it to be animated, just because of how good this is. If they can take directly from Dan Mora's style and do it justice, I think you really got something good there. And with the success of like Netflix's animated shows, like more mature animated shows in the past few years, I think you've got a hit on the level of like Castlevania. Plus, you don't have any like creepy sexual harassers working on that, so that's cool. Um, but I think I'd watch it either way, either
Yeah,
live action or animated. As long as they get the perfect goofy person to play Duncan, that's really
yeah.
important. And as for for Bridget, who would you cast?
Bridget. Oh God. Um. I mean, I'm a fan of any sassy Helen Mirren, but um, she's too proper.
Yeah, I need someone with a little more attitude.
Yeah, I don't.
I my heart says Jamie Lee Curtis, but it's not exact. There's someone in between Helen Mirren and Jamie Lee Curtis, and that's who it is. You
That's who
know?
it is. Yeah, it's got to. They got to de-age her a little bit, I think, to make it really work. Just because I don't know, like how many of the actors in their 80s or 90s, I think she says maybe, are like running around just like spry and like all that. And I know you can makeup is amazing, but
Yeah, but that
oh
is
god.
refreshing. One of my complaints about a lot of like media that I like that's like fantasy or sci-fi or whatever is
Mm-hmm.
that like I've always felt until recently older women don't get to be the mentors or like the main characters of those, like older men tend to as like mentors and everything else. Now that's changed a lot recently. Um so it's been a lot more refreshing, like stuff like Returnal, like that video game.
Mm-hmm.
Um but man, I loved her. Bridget is wonderful. Team Bridget forever.
She's the best. Characters I'm looking at now, I'm like, Sigourney Weaver could play her.
Yeah, that's true.
Emma Thompson could probably do it really well.
Oh yeah.
But like as I'm looking through, I'm like, okay, there's some out there.
Chris is recommending Helena Bottom Carter. Maybe. She's so
Oh,
quirky
she's
though.
yeah, she almost I feel like it needs to be someone unassuming because like hello mom Carter you expect to be weird. But this grandma, like at the very beginning, you're like, oh, his sweet old grandma's run off. And then she shoots him. Like
Or let's stop thinking about what we're thinking. I mean, matching the characters' looks completely, and like
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh or Viola Davis.
Oh, Viola Davis. I was gonna
She
say
could really
Angela
do it.
Bassett too. Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You know what? Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's what I
Yeah.
need. That's what I need. Um, yeah, I need Angela Bassett. I need Rose to be a not cruel version of Priyanka Chopra. I mean, what? Um, yes, I need
Yeah.
Rose to be like there's a really good show on HBO right now called The Sex Life of College Girls.
Oh, I watched it all because
Um,
of Isabella Roland, my wife, who retweeted that. I was excited that she was in it.
yes. So I need it to be oh, the girl from that, whose name I can never remember.
Which one?
The oh my gosh, the Indian girl.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, I don't remember her
Yes.
name, but yeah, her.
I want her.
Chris Pratt, maybe. That joke just brings me pain now.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think I got to issue 18 or 20 and bailed. It's so dense and requires such a level of comprehensive brain power. Colors rocked, but I'm ADHD, so reading monthly didn't work. I need trades. I'm right with you. We both have ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like people who tend to like being in nerdy stuff or fandoms just tend to be neurodivergent. Um, yeah, for me, doing monthly is really difficult. It's a reason why I fall off a lot of like ongoing manga. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
even weekly is really hard for me to keep up with. I'm a binge reader. I catch up and I forget about it.
Yep.
So trades work better for me, or if something's already out and I can just read it through.
Right. So like
Very hard.
when I say I'm caught up as of today when I read the singles for issues 19 through 22 because I hadn't
Yeah.
read that arc yet, but I was curious. I was like, I don't think she'd go all the way to the current one, but I'm going
No.
to go anyway. And I'm glad I did because woof, there's a reveal in that last issue I read where you find out who the greatest monster hunter of all time was, and I was like,
Oh,
ah!
I'm dying.
Little lit nerd in me freaked out.
I'm
But
so excited.
it's it's really fun, but that's how I do like something's killing the children. I read it in trade because I have to.
Yeah.
Like, or else I forget what happens month to month. Department of Truth, I do that because it's so dense. Heck, Fear State, the big Batman
Mhm.
storyline that took over like
Everything.
every title every week. It was like 60 issues. I bought
Yeah.
them all and waited until it was over, and then I read the whole storyline in 2 nights, and I was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'm the same way with because I'm doing like floppies for all the Star Wars High Republic stuff. And so I just collect it now and I just wait until like I have a day and I just read all of it. The only
Right.
exception is if it's something with Roy Harper in it, and then I will read it when it comes out and then cry. But
I'm the only one that I still read month to month is Detective right now because
yeah,
Mariko Tamaki, so good.
I just love
And
her.
it's going weekly though. And I'm like, oh no, I don't think I could do it. It's too
No,
many.
it's so expensive too. That's the reason I trade weight. Collecting floppies is so expensive. I
I
mean, luckily I have a
know.
pull list, so they give me a deal. But
Try collecting floppies and hardcovers.
yeah, I can I've been with this new mortgage. It looks
Right?
like Steven is building back his collection. If so, what were the first essentials he grabbed?
Oh goodness. For those of you just tuning in, I sold my entire collection like a year ago to try to save my doomed marriage, which is now over, which is a good thing for everyone. But I was like, I will buy things back. Honestly, um, first one. Yeah, interesting. So the first one I grabbed back when I could afford it was right before it went way out of print, the Batman and Robin Omni by Tomasi and
Yeah,
Gleason. First ones I got back though, when my shelves were but barren, uh, were all these Darth Vader hardcovers
oh nice.
that are super out of print. Because I had posted in that Facebook group and said, "Hey, I have these books, and I'm gonna try to build my collection back. I lost basically everything. Is there any way I can like get these at a decent price? I know they're really out of print. Just like anybody willing to sell them at cover." And I had like 3 people send me messages and were like, "Hey, what's your address? I'm just gonna send you my copy." And so I
Oh,
got a full
there
set,
there are so many
and
good
I was like,
people there, honestly.
they
And there's so
showed
many people that
up, and
have
I was
just
like,
like given me like keep like an eye out for me for books of like things I was looking for
hmm.
when I was missing some Buffy stuff. Like, hey, I'm at this store. I found it. Just send me and like I won't take any extra charge for it or whatever. I'm like,
Or people watch your videos and see that one of your books got damaged, so they just send you another one.
yeah, thanks, Steven. I still have my damaged one because I can't bear to like do anything with it because I feel bad, and so I just have them both on my shelf.
Yeah, it's like I said, I still have like the Superman by Grant Morrison Omni, the misprint that has like one wrong printed page and the wrong
Yeah.
cover. It's got the cover cut off it, so I can't like get rid of it for anything, but I
Yeah,
can't
there's
throw it
things you can't
away.
sell, so you just have. I'm like, oh.
Like if anybody wants just the pages of this misprint, let me know because it has no front cover, but I it's just sitting in my closet. It's in terrible shape, but it's still readable.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Oh
Oh,
man.
and Jessica said she just caught up on the Something That's Killing the Children trades. I need to as well.
I just caught up on the series, caught up to where it is because they released the 5 of this arc and it's going to trade soon. So they're on like a 2-month hiatus between that and the next arc. And the next trade that's coming out in January, I think, or maybe February, trade 4, definitely check out because this last arc was oh my god, what's her name? Oh my god, I'm an idiot. The main girl. Oh,
I don't remember.
starts with an
I don't remember.
E. Erica. It was Erica's like origin story, and it was like
Oh, cool.
super cool because you learn a lot more about the House of Slaughter
Yeah.
and all that. So everybody's like, "What happened to Once in Future?" And I'm just like, "Oh,
Well, actually, we should probably wrap that up so we can talk to, you know,
people."
yeah. So, all we do to end us talking about Once in Future is to give our rating. Of course, we're just talking about right now. It's ongoing.
Mhm.
Um, the first 3 trades or the deluxe hardcover #1, which you have, which I want really bad.
I think it's still in print. The first one, not the slipcase, but
I don't want a slipcase anyways.
yeah, like I didn't get the
I
slipcase of
only like
Something's
that for
Killing the
Swamp
Children.
Thing, and that's it.
That's the only one I have slipcases of. Actually, is
Because
the
it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And
Swamp Thing.
I forgot to buy volume 2, and is what is. Anyways, so our rating out of 10 or whatever rating you feel comfortable with. I love this. I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Um, I would probably go right there, 9, 8.5, 9
Yeah,
out of 10. It's not like
it's
I,
too early to say. Too, I feel like
right. I need
once
to
it's
know
done,
because like
because the ending.
Kieron Gillen has done multiple series where he's nailed the ending.
Yeah.
I think Wicked and Divine is proof. So is his run on Young Avengers that just got reprinted in Omni
Mhm.
form. And honestly, the most underrated book of the last like 5 years, which is Die. Um, it was 4 trades, it was 20 issues. I really want a deluxe. I don't know if we'll get one because
Yeah.
not a lot of people read it, but if
Yeah,
you
I
want
still
to
need to
read
read
it,
my first volume of it,
it's essentially a mix between D&D and Jumanji where people get sucked into a D&D game.
which I love.
And it's very dark and very good, but yeah, no, I'd put it up there like 9, 8.5, somewhere up there. It's very it's V good.
And I think if the ending is landed, like I hope it will be, that can move it to a 10 out of 10. Because for me, there's a lot of series, manga or comics or movies or anything that I really love, and then the ending does not match what I want or is
Mm-hmm.
worse than an ending I've imagined, and it'll ruin the whole thing for me, and I can no longer recommend it. Like there's that manga series Erased that I loved. And
Mm-hmm.
I ate it up, and I got to the ending, and I was like, this is garbage. And I've never, and I hold a grudge about it still.
Like I'm always like, do I have anything like that? I'm sure I do.
So going back to like things we discussed before, Jaden said, I think that's why I never recommend Jonathan Hickman stuff because it's so dense, has a lot of plot lines that go nowhere. I feel the same about Hickman's just not for me, but that's because, and I love big overarching plots and mysteries and things, and I can see where Hickman would be more interesting if you're reading it floppy to floppy. But every time I've read any of his stuff all in one go, it just feels like it's pretentious. um, and it doesn't focus on the characters as much as I need it to as a reader. And I don't discount what other people like. I see why they like him. I think he's very talented. I just don't think his stories are for me. And I've tried.
So
I read Hick Avengers like what, 2 or 3 times?
yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna laugh because we've talked about Hick Vengers and how neither one of us really cared for it. I do have the deluxe like complete
Why?
collections right now because I want to give it one more shot and I wanted to do it like with the book in my hand.
Okay.
Like I want to do it like sitting there holding open a book. And the reason is when I first was getting back into comics, I remember picking up Avengers 1 and New Avengers 1 and reading them for a while and being like, this is really good, but I'm confused. Maybe I'm too stupid for comics.
No, it's just them
Um,
being like, oh, actually, this also includes things from other comics, but we're not going to tell you like you should do in a comic. You should always have a bubble that says like, this happened and this thing, issue 13. Always do
see,
that.
yeah, see this, see that. I'll say the best book for doing that is the current Flash book,
Yeah.
which I was never really a Flash reader.
Mhm.
But that Flash book right now is so good. And
Yeah.
the last issue was like the most meta comic I've ever read. Like
Okay.
Dr. Fate is talking about how there's all dimensions and the stories only unfold because there are readers. And like that's how the issue kind of opens is he's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not talking to you, Flash. I'm talking to them. And like points and like directly down the camera, basically, they talk to you like, reader, flip the book quick. And when you turn it and turn the page, like
Yeah.
they're falling. And it's
Oh,
very
I love
cool. Like
that.
it's a very cool like way to involve the reader to a point where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I have to help them. Like
I would feel the same way.
I'm
I'd be
like,
like,
no, Dr. Fate needs me.
me personally. It's like
Yeah.
a never-ending story deal.
Yeah, Flash number 776. Go
Yeah.
pick it up off newsstand, boys and
Man, I
girls.
need to catch up on all of the DC stuff. But luckily I do have DC Universe, so at the very least I can just read that stuff for free and see what I feel like. Because
Hmm.
after, after King killed me, I just fell off. Uh, and then I read certain stories, but I
He'll
miss
come back. He's not back already.
what, Roy?
Yeah,
Oh no, I had a hot boy Roy Summer. There were like 4 books he was in.
I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, my boy's back.
Yeah, I was gonna say he been back, hadn't he?
Yeah. Um, but that's why now I want to come back. 'Cause, like I've just been reading like Wonder Woman and then Wonder Girl and like Nubia, you know.
Wonder Girl's
Um,
so good.
oh my god, and she's like
Joelle
the
Jones is
hottest.
killing it. Right.
She's so beautiful.
Right.
I love her, and she has like a little pug shirt, which of course she does because Joelle Jones has a pug. And so I'm like, ah, yes, my people.
She's very good.
She's so good.
I have the somewhere over here the Joelle Jones like poster portfolio of her
Oh, I meant
DC work.
I
I
did I
could
know
not resist it.
did I know that was out? It's probably not even out anymore now.
Now I'm like looking. I'm like, I
I'm
have
looking at
it,
Amazon
right?
real quick. Oh, it's only okay, and those have just like actual posters that come out, right?
Yeah.
Can you
Poster
show me what's in
portfolio.
it?
Joelle Jones.
Because I might buy it right now.
Little
Yes.
Catwoman 1 cover.
Love it.
One of her Wonder Womans.
Love it.
This Batman cover.
I would give it to somebody else.
This Catwoman cover.
Yes.
A lot of very attractive Catwoman covers.
Oh, I love Supergirl being super. Did you ever read that? Did we talk about it?
No.
It is my absolute #1 favorite Supergirl book.
Okay. I will have to read it.
Varda.
This wonderful
Oh,
image.
yes.
We got Yara Floor right there.
So do those like come out? Are they meant to like just be
Yeah,
posters?
you can pop them out and frame them and stuff if you want.
I'm gonna buy that right now.
There's a few of these that need to be framed.
I'm gonna do that right now. And then you give
Where's
him his
the?
gifts.
There's a really cool Catwoman one that like. There's another Yara Floor.
Love it.
One of them that my partner and I are gonna frame. There's a Lois Lane one that I really like.
So cute.
Wonder Woman, Batman, yes. That one.
Oh, love it.
So my partner and I just want to rip out and frame.
I ordered it. It's going to be here on Thursday.
The Joel Jones poster portfolio.
I forget because I had a bunch of those poster portfolios like on my kind of like watch list of things I wanted. And now
Jay Lee's first one. They're coming out with the second one, but Jay Lee's first one is on IST right now for like $8.
Damn. Okay.
I think. Yeah, because these portfolios are really nice.
Man, because I also consider getting that Art Germ poster portfolios as well. I was gonna boycott because like I think he was getting into NFTs. I don't know if he stopped or not. But I also want those posters. Is that Joelle Jones' book Only Women? Asking for a friend because my wife watches these live streams. No, there's like a Batman in there.
Yeah, there's a few Batmans.
Your wife has good taste. Just is she reading those books?
And most of what Joelle Jones does is women. Like it's just like that's her like Lady Killer. There's some really good stuff in there. Oh hey, it's Elliot.
He's behind me over there.
Elliot, you're my favorite.
Listen, Steven showed me this cool thing, so I had to get it. Okay. Sorry.
I was waiting to see if he was going to respond audibly or through the chat. Oh, there's his hand. Hey, Elliot. Oh my god.
I want to show you the pugs. Elliot, are you playing a game? Can you go grab one of the little pugs? Because somebody commented today that they want to see the pugs.
He made a sad face. Oh no.
Why are you sad?
I feel like some people are just like, are they just hanging out? And like, yeah.
Oh, they can't. Well, everybody can check out my Twitter for the pugs. I'll show Steven the pugs after the show.
Gotta go get those pugs. Well, I know Moose. I know my sweet Moose.
Oh, but these are 2 6-year-old pugs. They're like regular pug size. They're so cute. They have real names, but Elliot calls them Dingle and Barry.
They'll never be as cute as my sweet Moose.
Moose is okay, ignore how gross my room is, but there's Moose right there.
Moose. Oh, my sweet boy.
So how's everybody else in the chat? What have y'all been reading? What'd you ask Santa for Christmas?
I like how I'm like looking back here, like, am I reading anything else? I don't know. I'm reading a lot in floppy.
I've been reading a lot of webtoons, and then I have been listening to audiobooks this past couple weeks. I got really into the book Iron Widow, which I think some people will appreciate. It's a novel, but it's like Chinese history. So it's a reimagining of the first Chinese empress, Zhe Tian. I think that's her name.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, Wu Zetian. And but this time she like there's mechas involved.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yay! Jessica! I know I didn't call you today because I got too busy. But Jessica ran up Great Soul.
I still haven't. You kept telling me to, and you were like, come be on the old reader, new reader when we do it. I was like, okay, and then I wasn't.
Well, it's time to redo it. That's one I'll just do. Probably do again. Honestly.
Also, I will tell people, if you do read ongoing, and or even if you just read ongoing series when they come out in volumes, just go wherever you buy your books, whether it be online or your local comic book shop. Releasing this week, Tom Taylor's Nightwing is, as a person who Nightwing is my favorite comic character,
Yeah.
it's the best Nightwing.
Okay.
Tom Taylor has gotten Nightwing's voice in a way that I haven't seen anybody do. Bruno Redondo's doing the art, and it's fucking gorgeous.
All right.
It's Go read Nightwing, even if you don't read ongoing series. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Read it.
And the Joker, read that.
Ah, the Joker.
I don't like the character of the Joker. I've said this before. But
I mean, I'll.
Tynion's writing it, and
Oh,
that whole
okay. Well,
book,
then fine.
the whole
At
book
least
should be
Tinian.
called
Okay.
Commissioner Gordon,
Oh.
because
Well,
it's just him going on an adventure to assassinate the Joker.
okay.
Like, yeah, it's a crime. It reads like a noir, like a film noir. Like, he's in his head, like, she walked into my office with legs longer than your day. Like that sort of, like, you know,
I love that. I love Commissioner Gordon.
it's
I
very
really
good.
do. I really love him in that Harley Quinn animated show. Like, a lot. I just think he's really
He's
great in
voiced
there.
by what's his name from SVU?
It's just so sad. That show's the best show.
It's great. Have you read the comic?
No, I'm going to,
Very good.
because I love them. I reread Alias. I just love Jessica Jones so much. I still need to read that.
I like how I'm like, move out of the. That just came in from Organic Price Books yesterday.
I'm reading Aliens, Omni Volume 1, and Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Good picks. James, I'm sorry, I watched the first episodes. I'm gonna watch it all because I heard it's gay. So probably when I have my Christmas break. Because right now, yeah, because I watch Sex Lives of College Girls for my my wife Isabella Rowland. If she and her fiance ever open up their relationship, I will marry into it. I will bring
Cool.
Elliot. It's cool.
Cool.
But I love them, and I've been watching Raised by Wolves because Lee recommended it. He said that the guy wrote Aliens.
Huh.
Wrote it. It's pretty cool. Jaden reread Spider-Man Blue and watched Daredevil. Nice. Steven should narrate. I think Steven would be a great narrator.
Narrating what?
Anything. You've got a good voice. It's like you've done podcasting or something before.
Yeah, back when I did that as a job, people hated my voice.
Really?
It's the thing I got the most. The most complaints we got about was like, that guy's voice sucks.
How?
I don't know.
You had a nice voice.
We had reviews that's like, we looked him up. The fat one's voice is terrible. And I was like, oh my God. Okay.
All right.
Those three are on my list. I will read anything that they write, period. Donny Cates right now. If you're not reading Crossover, you're missing out. A lot of people said Crossover was like I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Anyone who knows me, and I've been on this channel and knows me and Maddie, like, knows I am 100% like feminist. And I think people just tried to go after that book because they were like, oh, it's a comic writer trying to be like, comic fans are persecuted. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't think it is.
It's the usual washed up, narrative and complaint, right?
Yeah, I was like, they're not like, anyway, they're not incels, but it's a very good series.
Yeah.
It's super meta. Like I said, Chip Zdarsky is unfortunately dead in it, as is Scott Snyder. And they're coming for Brian Michael Bendis. So
I've got to read. This is so funny. That's
and it's
so
like,
good.
And the thing is, like,
and it's such a niche thing. Like, if I tried to describe this book to anyone, they'd be like, "What?"
Oh,
No,
and
it's
the
great.
fact that like every issue, like somebody else shows up. Like at one point, like the detectives from Powers showed up, and I was like,
Oh yes.
"What?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, no, Madman showed up." I was just like, "What's happening?" They got all these licenses to image characters, like so all these image characters just keep showing up.
I think that sounds great.
It's amazing.
Hello from Kentucky.
And North Carolina.
We're in the South.
Yeah, it's scary sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can close it up. So next week, if everybody saw the schedule, I'll be back talking about Power Rangers. So we're just staying with Boom. Power Rangers Year One, which I could have read more, but I have guests, and I don't. I feel bad when I'm like, what if we read like 3 deluxes? And they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, actually, I guess just 3 volumes is fine. So take it easy on them. Uh,
Whatever.
and then the last week of the month is the Patreon pick, and for the theme for this month's Patreon is books by Kentucky people, comic book artists, writers. So we'll see who my votes for, but of course one of the books is by Chris Schweitzer because of course. Uh, and I didn't choose. I'm surprised I didn't choose Kirkman because we've done Kirkman books, and I feel kind of like I should because like he and I are from the same place, but like we've done it, so I feel like I can't bring it up again. Um, but we have Kentucky Kaiju, Warlords of Appalachia, which is what I really want everyone to vote for. I want to read Warlords of Appalachia so bad. And then read Chancellor's book, Rock and Roll Terrorist. So I'm excited to see people vote for it, but we will see what happens then. And maybe Steven will join us for that one if he's free.
Yeah, I'm always free. I'm nothing.
Sure.
I don't know what that means.
Well, guys, I hope you have a good night. Hope you like this video. Hope you comment down below if you're joining us later. Tell us what you thought about Once and Future, or if you had any polite, respectful thoughts about other things.
Like my voice, I don't know.
And I hope you subscribe for future videos. I am typically here every Tuesday live at 8 p.m. and I'll have 2 videos coming out this month. One is like my top 10 reads of the year, my top 10 manga, and probably a haul video. So yeah, thank you, Steven, so much for hanging out.
Of course.
And good night, everybody.